Direct-to-paper inking simply means applying color from the surface of an ink pad directly onto your paper. I like to use ink on the edge of my cards as a finishing touch. I like to run the surface of my ink pad along the edge of the card just to add a skim of color and a shaded look. So here you can see how I've added a little heavier line than what was there before. I'm just using the surface of that pad. Next, you can also create a background using ink pads, which is great because you can get an extra layer of color without having to add another layer of paper and that bulk that can create. So you take the surface of a really nice new juicy ink pad, you're going to set it down on your card and do a swiping motion off the edge. And I've chosen another color, a complementary color. This one's a green. Line it with the first color and swipe it off the edge. And then you can add some stamps and get this really colorful, fun card you just created in just a couple of minutes. You can also create a wood grain on a card very simply to create a wood grain background. Take the surface of a brown ink pad, use actually the edge of that ink pad. You want to make some uneven lines on your card, and this is going to be the boards of the wood. Just make them as imperfect as you can. Now I'm going to use the surface of the ink pad going in one direction. Going back over. Don't forget to ink those edges, give them that nice vintagey, distressed look. There we go, and this is what your finished product will look like. You can even take the edge of the ink pad and make little knots in the wood, little imperfections. Finally, you can also create a great instant vintage look by taking a piece of crumpled up paper or cardstock. This is cardstock, so it's a little heavier weight, and that creates hills and valleys in the paper. You take the surface of your ink pad and just rub over that really roughly. And those hills and valleys are just going to appear, and what a really interesting background. You could flatten that out, iron it if you'd like to, and glue it to the surface of the card.